Hi, and welcome you all to the second part of the series on discipline and punishment. In the previous video, I discussed some principles of disciplining your child, which I hope you all have watched. In this video, I will discuss a few important principles of punishment. Request you to subscribe to my channel and like and share the video to your friends and family groups. So what is punishment? Whereas discipline is helping the child solve a problem, punishment is making a child suffer for having one. Obviously, there can be no disciplining without some form of reprimand, but whenever you talk of disciplining the child, we automatically conjure up images of spanking, screaming, and yelling at children in order to do so. Which is why both these words, that is discipline and punishment, have very negative connotations. When I talk of punishment, it doesn't mean the woman and the child shown in this picture. It simply means an effective methodology to meet the goal of teaching discipline to the kid. Now, what are the principles of punishment? As mentioned earlier, discipline cannot start till the child can be made to understand what is right or wrong. Likewise, punishing the child when they are in this stage makes no sense. In the first year of life, generally, no punishment is justifiable, as most behavior which we adults consider bad habit forming is actually a developmental thing, and children will grow out of it. For example, a 6-month-old child would love banging their toys on the table to make sound or throw them on the floor. Here, you should only ensure that the table is sturdy and doesn't break and hurt anyone, or that the toys are not made of a material fragile enough to easily break and hurt the child. Scolding or hitting this child is meaningless, as they don't know and they cannot be taught that this act is not to be done. This, like many others, is an exploration that nature has put in them at this age and is an integral part of their growing up process. From the second year onwards, a mere glance or change in the tone of the voice or taking away the privileges the child enjoys, like their favorite toy, favorite game, is enough to let them know that the behavior has not been desirable. The idea of punishment is to send a message across to the child that their conduct is not desirable. This message will be well conveyed to them by just a stern look and a mere change in the tone of the voice. There will be no need to hit, scream, or scare the child. Locking the child alone in the house or in a dark room or threatening to leave the child is never necessary and totally undesirable. Avoid ridicule and sarcasm towards the child, which may be as bad as hitting, if not more. When there is a good parent-child bonding, the mere feeling given to the child that the parent is hurt by the action will be enough for them to remember not to do it in future. And if the parent makes it a point to listen to the child's point of view and explain their own as per the kid's maturity, discipline will be accomplished without any harshness and without feeling bitter. Most punishments meted out to children are a result of unnecessary loss of temper by the parent, who may be tired or stressed out and may subconsciously take out their frustration on the kids. Mostly, the children get scolded and beaten for things which they cannot help. Say they are being forced to eat when they are not hungry, or being forced to sleep when they are not sleepy, or being forced to do their homework when they are sleepy. They may get scolded for events over which they have no control, like bedwetting, thumb sucking, or fidgeting. So when you want to punish the child, please take some time to recognize your own emotional state. Is it stable enough to take punishment decisions for the child? Or are you so frustrated with your own stresses that you are letting it loose on them? Parents, you must remember that the children are also human. They too get tired and stressed out like you, and then they too can demonstrate bad behavior. Not understanding this and instead screaming at them, getting wildly angry and hitting them only reinforces in the child that this is the only way to give vent to frustration. Before punishing a child for their behavior, try also to assess the cause for the bad behavior. For example, if a child is using a swear word which you know has not been taught at home, assess from where the word has been picked up, which the child may just be repeating without really knowing it is not to be used. A patient and logical reasoning told in a loving and non-threatening manner will be enough for the child to understand and not use the words again. Similarly, you see the child bullying younger kids. Instead of just smacking the child, get to the root cause of the problem. Maybe the child is getting bullied themselves and thinks that this is the only way to behave with the younger kids. Your understanding of the underlying cause will prevent you from creating unnecessary conflict. At times, the child is destructive or badly behaved simply out of sheer boredom, as there is no creative outlet for their energy. You must recognize that. Maybe you just need to take the child outdoors to unleash it. Child may be scribbling on the walls because they need to be creative. Instead of punishing them for this, understand the need to scribble and get them crayons and drawing books and see their creative juices flow. Punishment, if any, should be immediate, so that the cause for the punishment is clear in the child's mind and it can hence be more effective. There is no point of reminding the child of some untoward incident that happened a day before and scolding them today. The ultimate goal of punishment is to make the child develop good habits and behavior. If we can achieve that through love and minimal punishment, then why should we resort to scaring the child and instilling fear psychosis in them? Even when a relatively severe punishment has been given, once things cool down, make it a point to hug the child, give them the feeling that the child will always be loved, only their bad behavior was the reason for the punishment. Try to explain your logic to the child in a manner that the child will understand. Let them not repeat the mistake later because they know you love them and they want to return your love rather than out of fear of you. Punishment should be, as far as possible, the logical outcome of the wrongful action performed by them so that they cannot fail to connect their action with the outcome. Say, for example, the child is misbehaving at the dinner table, throwing the food or the cutlery around. The food can be quietly removed from the table away from the child, letting them have the next meal all by themselves. This way, a privilege has been taken away from them without any screaming or yelling, but still a strong message has been sent. Or if they are called for dinner and they don't come despite being called 2 or 3 times, there is no need to whack the child and drag him to the table. Simply finish your own meal, letting them miss theirs. The message has gone across that there is a sacrosanct meal time which should be followed by everyone, otherwise you miss the meal and be hungry till the next one. Another example, if the child is damaging or throwing the books can be confiscated, only to be given once the child realizes what has been done is wrong. In all the above examples, the child is being disciplined without resorting to any severe punishment. Punishment of a child for something considered wrong by adult standards should not be done unless and until the child has been told why certain behaviors are wrong. As still being an innocent child with limited knowledge and underdeveloped conscience, they don't know the implications of their behavior to the society. For example, they may like a particular toy at someone's house and may feel entitled to possessing it. Without anyone realizing, they may get it home. It is pointless hitting the child, calling the child a thief and punishing them at this juncture. Simply explain to them the concept of ours and theirs. Let them know that in future if they like a toy at someone's home, they must let the parents know who will buy a similar one for them. Or a child who has never been taught the concept of table manners at home should not be reprimanded severely when they are found lacking in this at a gathering outside, just because the parents are getting too embarrassed. Make a note of these things and explain the whys and hows to the child when you get home. Believe me when I say that the child will not repeat this in future, as there is no child who wants to be badly behaved. As far as possible, the disciplining and punishment should be something between the child and the parents. Any punishment should be accompanied by as little fuss as possible, with no prolonged disapproval and no discussion done with friends or relatives, especially in front of the child. It also never pays to criticize your child in the parents-teachers meeting with the child listening on. Even young kids have self-esteem. Parents must ensure that they are not scolding, taunting, or hitting their kids in front of their friends. Say a child has been playing outside with their friends for longer than the prescribed time. It is not a good idea to hit or scold the child in the open in front of them. Better to let the child in the house and deal with it between the two of you. Children learn to appreciate this act of yours and develop respect for you and also have similar thoughts when they will deal with other humans now or when they are grown up. Always remember that good things learned at home will help children in becoming good students, good colleagues at office, and later becoming good spouses and parents. The child may confess to a heinous wrong that they have done, say stealing someone's money, lying about a major issue, and so many such like things. You may be very angry and hurt and worried about this becoming a habit later on unless dealt with by giving a severe punishment. But remember one thing, it takes a lot of courage for the child to own up and you must appreciate that. This confession means a lot of things. Firstly, the child has a conscience that tells them right from wrong. Secondly, it tells you that the child has a lot of faith and trust in you, which is why they are sharing this with you. Not keeping this in mind and just giving a severe punishment will be mismanagement of the issue. Because of this, child may lose faith in your capabilities and no longer trust you. Also, very severe punishment is never good as it causes hostility, repression, and behavior problems later on. The last word. The reason for any child to follow discipline should be very simple. They should not do it out of fear of punishment, scoldings, or ridicule, but because they love and respect their parents so much, they don't want to hurt them and want them to be happy and approving. This is best achieved less with punishment, but by positive reinforcements, that is, praising the child for doing something the right way rather rather than reprimanding or scolding them for doing things wrong way. Thank you and happy parenting. Please like and share this video and subscribe to my channel Pedia Talks.